It is Big Cat Energy over here today at Big DK Energy. I am wearing my Panthers jersey and wearing a Tigers headband. Sitting across from me today is a Jags fan from Jacksonville working in sales in the Kissimmee, Orlando area. Besides crunching people during his time during college, he's now crunching sales and closing deals. So please join me in welcoming today's guest, Mr. Will Tillo.
Yeah, let's go. Cheers.
My guests are going to hate that.
I know, but I love this. This is really cool.
Excellent. But Will, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's been cool watching, and being invited on the show is really an exciting way to, middle of the week, like a little reward, hang out with a cool guy. We really haven't had this, you know what I'm saying? We've talked before, didn't have like alone time.
That is true, yeah. In fact, Will is the fiance to a former guest, Miss Erin Murphy, who is soon to be Miss Erin Tillo.
I was actually demoted recently. We went to the Jags game and Erin had a little bit to drink, and I was trying to help her after the game when she was not feeling too well, and I was trying to get her to take medicine. She said, "You can't tell me what to do. You're just my boyfriend." And I said, "Oh, I'm just your boyfriend." And she's like, "Yeah, you're just my boyfriend." I'm like, "Oh, okay." But then when she did come to her senses, she didn't realize that she had actually said that, and she took it back. So
okay, I was about to say.
I was a boyfriend for a little bit. I would say about 8 hours.
Oh, so you just regressed back into like how many years of memories?
Yeah, I told her I forgot everything we've done as fiancés. So now we're going to have to start over.
Well, I guess you have to like fall in love all over again, and I'm pretty sure that's the plot to a bunch of cheesy movies from the early 2000s.
We could probably make a movie about it.
100%. This is definitely an early 2000s movie.
Wow.
Yeah, you just have to.
You're onto
script.
something.
I guess so. Hopefully, no one listens to this part and steals it.
And honestly, like just even talking like this, like I feel like I could they were together.
And then they weren't. Starting over, starring Will Tillo and Erin Murphy.
Alcohol is a dangerous thing, man. But she had a fun time. So, she didn't remember really saying it to me. I'm a sensitive little guy, so I probably took it a little to heart.
Yeah, just a little guy who just played linebacker in college. So, yeah, that's a little guy indeed.
So, in your defense, it's NAIA, which a lot of people don't know what that is.
So, actually, yeah, this is my first time hearing about it. What is NAIA then?
So, there's FBS, which is like your D1, your Alabamas, your Floridas. And then you have FCS, which is your football championship series. So that's like D1 AA.
So like North Dakota State,
yes,
South Dakota State.
Exactly.
All of the HBCU colleges
yes.
Flagler or
Tennessee
FAMU.
State, Jackson State, or Deion Sanders coaches. So FBS, which is your Alabama's, is football bowl series.
Got it.
And FCS is football championship series because it's a playoff format where typically forever, FBS has been bowl games, right? So one plays 2 in the national championship, 3 plays 4 or 5 in the Rose Bowl, right? Mm-hmm. So FCS is like D1 AA. And then D2 is like Valdosta State, Delta State, who's some big name D2 teams. I'm kind of not good with the D2 teams.
Yeah, me neither.
But then like D3 is like Mount Union, James Madison, Wisconsin, Whitewater.
My cousin used to room with one of the wide receivers for JMU.
Really?
Yeah.
Right. So, and then NAIA is kind of its own conference. And the reason why it's its own conference is because they don't have the same athletic or academic standards as the NCAA. So they have less requirements financially than the NCAA. So like if Southeastern, where I played, was NCAA, they would have to pay more to the conference, right?
Oh, yeah.
Pay more to the athletic association, be in a conference. And so they're held under tighter parameters to be a team. And when I first got there, we were a first-year program. So it was easier to start an NAIA program than it was to start an NCAA program.
You played for their initial year?
Yeah, their first year. So their first year technically was before I got there, but they didn't play any games. They were like building the program.
I guess you have a connection to 2 of our guests because one of your former teammates, Jalen Houston, was the first episode as well.
Yes. So we were NAIA, but we did play D3 teams. We played D2 teams. We played D1 FCS teams. But majority of our games were played NAIA. So like in the state, we had like Weber International over in Lake Wales, Warner in Lakeland, Ave Maria down in Naples. So like teams like that, which people don't really know about.
Got it.
So.
And then also, is JUCO a whole different park?
That's an entirely different park. I would say D3, I'm not trying to like, anyone that's played D1, D2, D3, I'm not trying to say like who's better, who's not. I would say that like we've had players on our team that came from Houston, came from Ohio State. We've had coaches that coached at Baylor, came and coached for us. So like,
kind of sounds like Last Chance U. Have you ever heard of that show?
Yeah. Yeah. I just think it's funny because it's a very Christian school. So like hearing Last Chance U and knowing that show and then thinking just like when you said that, quickly running through my mind my college experience where I almost got crucified for drinking on my 21st birthday.
Oh?
Crucified probably wasn't a good word for it. But
we understand.
Right. It is funny. But I would say that we were definitely in the same realm as D3, D2 teams. D1, they have a lot of financial resources and players that go there because D1's D1 in every sport. Everyone wants to play D1.
It's the big leagues.
Right. So, I mean, I'd say we were very comparable to D2, D3, but we were NAIA. So I just, just in case people fact check this podcast.
Okay, got it. Actually, I like the fact that you brought that up because I did not know exactly what that was. And what position were you?
I was a middle linebacker.
Nice.
And fullback in short yardage situations where they just need to like smash someone's face in.
Okay, so you were a pretty weighty fellow back then.
Yeah, I was 235 when I played.
And how tall are you?
I'm 5'10" and a half. 6 foot 6.
Bro, I'm 5'8". I'm still a king.
For this podcast, 5'10" for you, 6 foot for me.
Let's go with it.
2 inch buffer.
There we go. I mean, I'm 5'10" on skates, so that works.
There you go. So I had a biometric screening at work, and they just like testing your blood. It was free. I got like extra points for my medical insurance, and they had to do our height. I wore my dress shoes that had the biggest heel, and then I also like kind of lifted up a little bit. And then they marked me at 6 foot for the first time in my life. I was marked at 6 foot.
Well, congratulations on making the 6 foot club.
Yeah. So I told Erin, and she immediately thought I was much sexier. I don't blame her, but no, I'm 5'10" and a half.
I got it.
I say all that to say I'm 5'10" and a half. I get that half inch. Don't give me that. It's not 5'10". It's 5'10" and a half.
Exactly. I'm a short king, so it's all right. I've embraced it, and I've just learned to love it.
Yes, I agree.
Exactly. Besides, one thing that I know about my genetics is that even though that I can get fat, if I don't work out, if I do work out, though, I can get stocky.
There you go.
So I'd look like a dwarf.
Yeah, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. Have you ever seen the dwarf in Lord of the Rings?
Of course.
Okay. The guy with the axe, double-headed axe or whatever?
Gimli.
Yeah, that guy. He's a fucking badass.
Yes, he is.
All right. I mean, he rode a boar into battle.
Oh, I think that's the Hobbit. But yeah, that was one of his kinsmen.
Fuck.
Although, it's funny because I actually think that he's played by the tallest cast member of the Fellowship. If not him, it's Ian McKellen because Ian McKellen's like 6'3" or 6'4".
So I'm going to also say I might have messed up because I made it sound like I was very well versed into that area of movie. I don't know the Lord of the Rings that well.
That's fine. I'm just a huge nerd about that stuff.
So you know a lot about it.
Yeah, I was about to go in, but thank you for the disclaimer.
So I stepped into your realm.
Correct, exactly.
Okay.
Just like, for example, you're a linebacker, just like how a running back would get into your zone. Speaking of which,
yes.
How did you first get involved in football?
So it's actually a funny story. I actually just told this the other day. I didn't play sports like really growing up. I played soccer, rec, or YMCA, played some flag football, but never like basketball or baseball.
Nothing too aggressive?
Nothing too competitive, if that makes sense.
Mom didn't let you?
She was pretty protective about it. And it's because I just wasn't into sports, really. Like, I played flag football very lackadaisically, if that's a word.
Did you like the Jags, though, at the time?
So that's another cool conversation. I was actually in my mom's belly for the first Jags game ever. In
really?
And I actually, this year, for their birthday presents and Christmas presents, I bought my mom and sister season tickets in the same seats that I was in my mom's belly in.
That's amazing.
So we've gone to every game this year. I've probably missed 10 Jags home games since I was born.
Really?
Yeah, so, I'm that type of fan.
Listen, I'm a Dolphins fan, so I shouldn't be talking, but sorry about how the Jags are going. Although I will say I'm proud of you for at least sticking by your team through thick and through very, very thin.
I would say I'm a very loyal person.
Nothing wrong with that.
I would say almost to a fault.
It can get some people in trouble.
It can, because you defend things that sometimes shouldn't be defended.
Correct.
Like if you're done wrong, you like see the 1% good of it because you really love or care about that particular person, place, or thing.
Exactly, and also being a Florida Panthers fan.
Yeah. People
always thought when I spoke about the Panthers, they were like, "Oh, Cam Newton's great." I'm like, Florida Panthers.
Florida.
That's how bad we are.
Aren't they pretty good though?
This year they're doing fantastic.
But they made wildcard spots last year, right?
Yes, they did. So it's very recent that we started getting good. But I've been a fan since my first hockey game in middle school. Ever since that point up until a few years ago, we've just been always correct. Basura. 0. Big goose egg. Basura.
Wait, basura is what?
Trash in Spanish.
Damn, I need to know that. I work in Miami all the time. That's another thing. I travel the entire state.
Really?
Yeah. 60,000 miles this year on the track.
Eek.
Yeah. That's why my posture looks like this.
Understandable. So we were talking about your beginnings in football. So you started with flag football. You played it very lackadaisically, as you said.
Yeah.
So then what was the trigger that made you say, I want to go beat people up on the field?
So it's actually kind of funny because I was in 6th grade. and I got in a fight off the bus and I got my ass kicked and I was out of shape. I didn't play sports and I wasn't like, the kids when you're younger, there's always the kids that are like the super athletes, right? Play Pop Warner, basketball, whatever. And I got my ass beat. And I remember walking home crying. I was like the front bus stop and I had to walk all the way to the back of the neighborhood. I was like crying. I was like, I will never get my ass beat again like that. And I remember being like, I'm playing football next year. And I was 205 in 6th grade.
Okay, that's not bad.
I was a big boy.
Yeah, for the size you need at least.
Yeah, and so the next year I tried out for football. I lost like 40 pounds.
Nice.
And all the guys were like, oh, we need a water boy. Like, things are coming out. I didn't have like an athletic reputation.
Okay.
So like
no background.
Right. Me coming out to football, these guys have been playing Pop Warner together for 10 years. At that point, 8 years. So I was the new guy on the block and I really wasn't that good my first year in 7th grade. I played like offensive line and defensive line, which is where they like typically put people who are newer to football because it's easier to grasp, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then 8th grade, I improved a lot. I lost another 20 pounds. I was like 140 at this time. So I lost like 60 pounds in 2 years and got a little better at football, like really trying to be good at the craft, learning techniques, like different training, going to hit centers and different stuff like that. And then freshman year, I was 135, tried out, made the JV team, barely played. And then really, I was lucky to have a really good coaching and mentorship in high school. I remember a cool story. All the 8th graders going into high school in my area, they have to go to 4 days a week training to be like at the high school football team.
I was about to say, doesn't Jacksonville have a lot of great football prospects?
Yeah. So I was lucky to have great coaching. And I went one day and they were training and I was invited to the varsity 5 a.m. conditioning on Friday. Because we typically went Monday through Thursday and varsity only would do conditioning on Friday. And I remember playing video games with my buddies on Thursday and I was like, I freaking love Call of Duty. Modern Warfare 2. I mean,
that was a great era.
That was a great era. Rest in peace. But
Call of Duty is not what it used to be.
No, it's not. So I played all night and I skipped full-heartedly on purpose. And I remember going to workouts on Monday and the training coach brought me out to the breezeway area. And he grabbed me and he's like, what the is your problem? And I'm like, whoa, I'm an 8th grader, man. And he was just like, I was the one that stood on the table for you to ask you to get invited to the varsity practice. And you were a no-show. And he's like, I told them how hard you were working and all this stuff. And he's like, you know what? I thought you were going to be a big deal. And he's like, you're going to be like all the rest of them. You're going to come to this school. And you're going to go play 4 years. And you're going to be average. And then everyone's going to forget who the fuck you were when you leave. I remember him telling me that. And long story, I just haven't had a lot of father figures in my life. I've been lucky to have men who have mentored me, but never like my father in my life. And
sorry to hear that.
No, it you know what? It's built me to who I am today. And obviously I'm not perfect. I make a lot of mistakes. There's a lot of things I wish I could do better. I could do things worse too. So I think my mom, she was a kick-ass mom. And the different parents that I've had, friends, moms, dads, have really mentored me. Coaches have really helped me become who I am. He was one of those guys. And he like really struck a chord with me. I was like, I don't want to be average. I'm the kid that they said I was going to be the water boy. Like, I don't want to be that guy who just comes in here and they forget about. And I turned it on. And when I say I turned it on, like I became addicted to that. And like freshman year, I barely played. I got stronger and then ended up becoming captain of the varsity team my sophomore year in high school. And then was captain the rest of the time and ended up being one of the school leaders in all-time tackles.
Let's go.
Won state weightlifting championship. Now my bench went from 115 freshman year to 400 when I graduated. And I don't say that to like boast at all. Like just
you earned that.
The impact that coach had, like literally him just pinning me against a wall in 9th grade as a 14-year-old made that type of impact because you know what? Like everywhere I go, I want to be remembered for being the hardest worker in the room and being someone who didn't come from an athletic background, but like what hard work can get you, whether that be in sports, school, or anything. And that's really what kind of motivated me to play college football and to start playing ball in like a serious way.
That's awesome. Sorry, I don't know if you watch anime or not.
I do not.
Okay, so you remind me of a character who, even though he didn't have like the natural ability of that universe, he still worked his butt off and became one of the most badass characters. So I just imagine you just kind of living that story because it kind of sounds like how you weren't exactly the most sporty person, but somehow sports played a really big, I would say even a vital part of your life.
Yeah, I mean, it's been the biggest part of my life. Like, that coach who pinned me up against the wall when I was in 8th grade going summer, walked me up my senior day in college. He walked out with me. And
guess you turned out to be a big deal.
Yeah, he really did make a huge impact on me. And I've been lucky to have teammates, dads, or coaches, and like my dad's like not a bad person at all. He just I wasn't always there to like, have that thing. And so having those type of guys in my life have been, all because of sports, has been, like you said, vital. I mean, it's been the most crucial part of my life, like really building me into the man that I am, just because I've been able to take things from everyone, and nothing's black and white, and being able to grab a little something from everyone.
So how has sports translated into your life based on what you've learned?
The first thing I would say is commitment. And I know that sounds like commitment. I'm committed, right? But commitment in a sense of everything you do, you have to be intentful when you're playing a sport. You have to be as committed to hitting the weight room as you are watching film. You have to be committed as you are watching film as you are to learning the playbook. As committed as you are to learning the playbook as to being coachable, because you're going to mess up and you have to be able to listen to your coaches who are put there for a reason, that to help you improve to next time you're in that situation to know what to do right. And it's a constant commitment to excellence, if that makes sense.
I like that.
And I've been able to apply that in every single aspect of my life, whether it be personal fitness, which I have not been very committed to recently.
I mean, you're in better shape than I am, so don't worry about it.
Right. And I would say like I'm not out of shape, but in terms of where you've probably the same way in certain aspects of your life, in any aspect of your life, you've probably been more committed than you are now, or vice versa, more committed now than you used to be.
Oh, absolutely. This whole podcast has given me new life.
Exactly. And so you're like, damn, I wish I was a little more committed earlier because I would be this far ahead now. And I just think that football has taught me a very big commitment thing into every aspect of my life. And I'm able to carry that into my career, into my relationship with Aaron, into relationships with people. Just being committed to doing it the right way. I always say, I know it's kind of cheesy thing, but I literally always choosing like the hard right over the easy wrong, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that's a big thing about commitment is like you're committed to maybe taking the harder route to get to the right
path.
Yes, the right path. Like reaching the right path by taking a harder route will always pay off more than taking the easy route.
Correct. I forgot who said it, but nothing good comes easy.
Yeah.
And that's one reason that I stay up until 3 a.m. to edit these episodes, because it's what I believe people call putting in work.
Right. Putting in that work.
Yes, sir.
Wait, isn't there like putting in work?
Yeah, that's Ferg.
Put him in the dirt.
That's Ferg.
Oh. I love doing that, and I don't care how many people get eked out about that.
It's kind of like when I'm at the aquarium and I hear the scuba divers when they're talking, because they're like, sure, as you can see, the whale shark over here eats 15,000 tons of... And I just can't pay attention because I just hear that every time, and I just, what is it, cringe? Yes, I cringe every time I hear that. I'm
like the worst too, because almost now it's like an unconscious thing I do. Mm-hmm. Like I make protein shakes in this container, right?
Mm-hmm. I would hope so.
I have, well, like it's like a blender bottle thing, like Ninja. And I have a thing that like I slurp my protein shakes, and I know this might be weird, but I chew my protein shakes.
That means you need to shake harder to get the chunks out.
Well, no, so it's a blender.
Oh, so
but
it
I
actually...
put ice, peanut butter, and everything. I like chunky peanut butter.
Oh,
and chill.
So you actually press a button and it actually blends it for you.
So like I take this, like take the bottle and I flip it over, and it just like blends it all up.
Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, okay, never mind. I thought you just shook it like that. I can understand how chunks are formed with that, but in that case, everything should be smooth as butter.
Smooth, but it's still chunky because there's ice in there, and then there's like chunks of peanut butter. So like I chew it, but even when I don't need to chew it, like I'll chew ice cream.
I sometimes blow on ice cream, so I feel you with that. And then
blow?
I blow because I'm just like, wait a minute, this isn't hot at all. It's just habit at this point.
Right, okay. But that's a similar concept, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, that's... How did we get there?
So now I'm going to loop it back.
Okay, loop it back. This is your job. You're the orchestrator.
Nah, you're good, man. So, hearing a bunch of inaudible noise, you experienced that while playing at other stadiums, right? At like away games?
So, I'll be honest, like, we didn't have the biggest of crowds, okay? I would say that some high school games I had more fans than my college games.
Oh, wow. Did you hear all the ladies going, Will, we love you?
I heard my mom the entire time.
And she's the most important person you need to yell your name.
There's always the moms and dads who like know their son's working hard, doing good. They're going to cheer. They're going to sit there, right, in their fancy little chairs and cheer on and be like, yeah, that's my son. My mom's the mom who walks around and follows the field of play.
I love that.
So she would go on the away side so she had more room. And if I was on like the 10-yard line playing defense, she would walk the entire field wherever we were playing.
Really?
And then if I was off the field, she'd walk back to the home side.
Nice. That's a committed mom right there.
So this is a crazy stat. My My mom has never missed a sporting event in my entire life.
Well, that's awesome.
Not a single thing, ever. She's driven 25 hours. She's flown across the country. She's flown out of the country to see sporting events. She's never missed a single thing I've ever participated in. Weightlifting, wrestling, football, nothing.
Let's drink to her.
Yeah. Drink to you, Mom. Cheers. I do it myself, and I think it's funny every time. Because I know someone's pissed on the other end.
You're just being a preachel. I love it.
No, I just know someone's cringing about it.
Awesome. But would you say overall that you enjoyed your time in collegiate football?
Yes. I'd say it's one of the single-handedly biggest things that made me into the man I am and the man I will be. Yeah.
Do you think you'd ever coach in the future, just in any sort of regard?
Yes. I feel like I make excuses a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Not enough time, not enough this, not enough that. You make time for the things that are important to you. Everyone has 24 hours in a day. If you want to work out and be fit, you'll fit 2 hours working out in your schedule. If it's not that important, you'll fit something else into that 2 hours. And I've even told Aaron a few times, like, there's a middle school right by my house. Mm-hmm. And I know they probably don't have the best coaching staff. And nothing against the coaches that are there if they're listening to this podcast. I think you guys are great.
Well, we didn't say names. That's all that matters.
Yeah, they don't even know what middle school I'm talking about.
Exactly.
Westside K through 8. But I was thinking about like just going up to the school one day and asking if they need coaching help. And I just think that I really enjoy, I don't know, like Aaron always says I'm a people pleaser. But I just think it would be cool to help little kids and bring, I would say, good experience from college. I've had coaches from Baylor. I've had coaches from D1, D2, D3.
You know what you're talking about, especially for like young kids who are just getting into the sport.
Right. And so I think I was there too, where I started in middle school and I was the water boy. And I would be able to kind of help those kids that are maybe on the edge, like, damn, these people are like being a-holes to me, or I don't feel like I'm good at football, and tell them like, look, I wasn't good either, you know? So I think that would be something really cool to do. I just have to make a point to do it.
Awesome.
Kind of self-conviction here.
Cool. So we're just going to cut it off right here, and then we're going to kind of go into that, because I have another segue from that.
Okay.
So I think that's awesome, giving back to the community with your knowledge of linebackering. And you said it was at a middle school, you said?
Yes.
Awesome. And I'm assuming that if your kids want to get into football, you'd coach them as well, right?
Yeah, I would love to do that. Time to, do a sport that I love and be with my kids. Can't beat that, right?
Absolutely. My dad was my hockey coach growing up. So.
Oh, that's really cool. Erin played hockey.
Wait, did she really?
Yes.
Like ice?
She scored on her brother. This is a big story because, like, that's a big deal for Erin. Erin's really fun. She's cute in this sense where she's, like, good at things, but, like, when she does something good, she'll be, like, super shocked and excited about it. Huh. But I'm just like, yeah, I expect that from you. Like, you're
talented.
Yeah, you're talented. But like, yeah, so she scored on her brother one time, and I guess it made him really pissed. That was when they were really young, though. But she didn't play ice hockey, I don't think. I think it was, what's it called?
Roller
hockey.
Okay, got it. I grew up playing ice, but still, that's still pretty cool.
Yeah.
Speaking of middle school and Aaron, isn't that how you two met?
So it actually is. We met in middle school. It kind of goes with the theme of me and Aaron, to be honest.
Were you picking each other's nose or something?
No.
That sounds like something you two would do.
No, we're like the weird foot couple.
Oh. Okay.
No, so, all right.
Okay, that's much better.
All right, that's better. No, so that it's not like that comment is probably going to be taken way out of context. We're just the people who aren't weird about feet, so we'll touch each other's feet in front of people just to see the reaction they could give.
Okay, got it.
Like, I would put Aaron's foot in my mouth, or toes in my mouth, just to be like, see someone else's reaction.
You're just trolling.
Yeah, I guess. Am I a troller?
Yeah, I guess that is trolling because you're literally doing something bad just to get someone's reaction.
Well, is it bad?
It's not bad as long as no one gets hurt. I mean, some people might be traumatized.
You can suck on a toe for like hours and it not be bad if you're not hurting someone.
I mean, I've never experienced that, so I can't attest to that. But
I mean, that would be gross.
Okay, yeah, you're right.
It would get like pruning and stuff, right?
I don't know. You've done that before with
No. I'm asking, like,
okay,
it would probably get pruny, right?
I'm assuming because anything part of your body that gets wet gets pruny.
Interesting.
I think your body does that to get better grip when you're underwater. That's what I read.
Isn't the human body a fucking amazing thing?
It really is, to be honest with you. It's just that I would be a doctor if I wasn't so squeamish about blood.
You're squeamish about blood.
It's just that if I see a little drop of blood, I'm not going to freak out. But for example, it was just me and somebody else, and somebody got clipped in the leg by a boar, and they needed me to dress the wound. I would just sit there shocked and not know what to do because...
You'd almost it'd just be too much.
Yeah, because someone's life is in my hands and I have no training, so therefore I'm just panicking and I wouldn't even be able to move. I would just start thinking, what can't I do?
I got you.
Everything.
You know what? With your headband right now, to me, you would be the person that could save someone's life if they were attacked by a boar.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you.
It's almost like just a powerful headband.
Well, thank you.
I'm sitting here like I do look at it and get sort of intimidated.
Well, good. And actually, I got this headband because being South Korean, that is actually South Korea's national animal.
Is it really?
Yep. I don't know if it's the Siberian tiger specifically, but it is the tiger. Or in Korean, 호랑이.
호랑이.
호랑이. So
호랑이.
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 It's an L/R sound. It's really difficult.
I'm gonna fuck it up.
It's fine. It's really difficult to explain, especially since I started learning Korean last year.
Really?
Yeah, my mom never taught me.
Why?
Apparently, my dad said Korean women prefer that their kids speak English. I don't know.
I feel like the Koreans, like you guys not you guys.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
They're very respectful.
They are very respectful.
It's almost like she wanted you to speak English because you're in America and your dad speaks English.
I would maybe think that, but that's the thing I can't ask her.
I just feel like they're very respectful of everyone else.
I never heard that outlook before, so
no?
Interesting to think about. But anyway, so you met Erin in middle school,
yes.
And you've known each other for a while now.
Yeah, so I met her in the hallway in passing. Well, sort of because we had mutual friends. I was in 7th grade. She was in 6th grade. Mm-hmm. I remember her specifically the first time we met because she always says it's weird, but like I was in 7th grade. She's in 6th grade. It's not weird if I thought she was like cute or attractive, right?
It's only 1 year difference.
Okay. But looking back on it, me saying Erin was cute in 6th grade, it feels weird.
I know what you mean, but the thing is
I'm about to marry her, so it's like...
Correct. We know the context. Okay. You know, it's not like you're saying...
Like, oh, she was so...
Yeah, hot. Exactly.
I was attracted to Erin. I would say she was an attractive girl.
Yeah.
In 6th grade.
Okay.
For a 7th grader.
Yeah, you're saying this from your 7th grade self.
Yes. And she was intimidating. And like, it's not like an intimidating, like she was mean or she was anything, but she was just like a confident, funny girl from the start. Like Erin, who she is like a very unapologetically herself.
Love that for her.
Yeah, she's just Erin. Like, I guarantee anyone that knows Erin would say that there is no one like Erin. Like, she doesn't try to be anyone else. She doesn't conform to anything. It's who Erin is.
She was actually one of the people I actually enjoyed speaking to while in Greek life.
Yeah, like, there's a lot of great people and not anything, but
most of them can't form a sentence. It's just a fact.
Just Erin is, there's something about her, I guess. Maybe it's just me. You know, maybe that's why I love her and how we started dating was so weird. But anyway, she had Sharpied her name on the bottom of her lip.
Oh.
Like that. Right. And that's kind of like the first time I ever was very close to her, like face to face, is that I noticed that she's Sharpied, and like for some reason 7th grade self thought that was a tattoo. Super intimidated by that, but also super
turned on.
Yeah, I was gonna say it, but then I was like, I don't know my balance here with speaking back on a 6th grader. I was in 7th grade, so 12-year-old Will.
Yeah, exactly.
Was turned on.
Correct. So it's just like how back in the day, my cartoon crush was Kim Possible.
That's not a problem at all.
See? But at the time, I was in elementary school. Well, actually, she was in high school, so actually I don't think that would have worked out. But, you know, it's like in the context, me as an adult doesn't think the exact same thing.
Right. Gotcha. Okay, yeah, so we're on the same page. Correct. I was intimidated by her because I was like, holy shit, she kind of wore dark eyeliner like all the girls did. She had the tattoo on the lip that was actually Sharpie or pen, whatever it was. Mm-hmm. And I was like, damn, dude, that she's emo. She's scary. I don't know, maybe I'm just a wuss, but I'm intimidated by her, but I like it. But me and Erin never really we always were friends because of other friends, right? Mm-hmm. We never really hung out with each other or did anything together or anything like that. We would just hang out as big groups or anything. And then we always dated people. I dated people throughout like middle school and high school, and she dated really only like one guy. She was in a long relationship. I was in a long relationship. And then we had always been kind of friends. And then I split up with my ex in my freshman year in college. Mm-hmm. And Erin split up with her ex around the same time.
It's like the stars aligned.
It honestly did. And so I had been weightlifting throughout high school. Erin was a weightlifter in high school, in my high school. And I texted her like, hey, saw you made it to state. I know you've like been injured these past couple years, so I'm super proud of you and all you've accomplished. And I will, you know, Coach Nato, the coach who pinned me up against the wall, asked me to come to the weightlifting meet, and I'd love to see you there, or blah, 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 blah. Anyway, that text kind of started our entire interactions, and now 7 years later.
Wow, fit couple goals.
Yeah, we definitely used to be those fit couple goals. I feel like I'm really transitioning into the dad bod goal. And I'm not like mad about it. That's what's tough. Like part of me, I was so dialed in fitness because it's what I was supposed to be good at my job.
Correct.
Which was playing sports, right? And now like my job is to be the most successful I can in my career, so I can take care of Erin and my future family the way I want to.
Got it.
And so working out every single day and sacrificing the time I spend with Erin, the small amounts of time we do get to spend together, I choose to spend with her doing anything, cooking dinner, hanging around the house, than going into the gym for 2 hours.
So you still have commitment from what you had in sports. It's just now it's geared instead of towards fitness.
Yep.
It's now towards your new priority in life,
right.
which is your budding family.
And work and family. Work and Aaron is really the only thing that matters.
I love that. And then you don't have a kid yet, but you do have a dog, Kanye.
Actually, I should announce. I'm just kidding. Aaron hates when I do that shit.
Do what?
Just joke about Aaron having a kid. I think I tell people that Aaron's pregnant, jokingly a lot.
Well, how many times do you say it purposefully?
Never, because, I say it with purpose to get people's reaction.
Mm-hmm. Oh, going back to the toe sucking thing? Yeah.
See, I am a troller.
Yeah, you have been a lifelong troll. But I said you had a dog, but then you sounded like there was an announcement in addition to that.
A dog.
Oh, another dog. Okay.
Another dog.
So your current dog is named, is it Kanye or is it now Ye because of the name change?
We actually talked about that. His formal name is Kanye. My formal name is William. I go by Will. We were going to call him Ye.
Got it.
That just doesn't roll off the tongue, right?
It doesn't.
No, come here, Ye. Come here, Kanye. I love that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we always wanted to get another dog because I think Aaron disclosed we wanted to do Kim and Kanye, which I love. But, dogs are a lot. And I know I'm not comparing it to people who have kids, but it really is. You always have to be accounting for them. Someone has to be watching them. They are a part-time job, let's say full-time.
And unintended, they crap all over the place.
So Aaron is a freaking stud. Oh, sorry, we're about to cheers. Yeah, we can cheers. Oops. So Aaron had a great idea to these potty bells. And so we made a commitment when we got the dog that during awake hours, we would take him out every hour if we could, even if he didn't have to go. And at night, we'd take him out every 2 hours for the first week. And we did it together because we said, we're not going to make all that bullshit some couples do, I'll take him out there, you sleep, or vice versa. No, You know what? We're doing this shit together. Same thing. I'm putting on record.
More commitment.
I'm putting it on record because Erin, I don't know if she thinks I'm serious, but when she's pregnant, I'm not drinking because she can't drink. If your wife's carrying a baby and she can't have that fun, you know what? We're in this shit together. It's our kid.
I love that.
And honestly, it's a chance for me to get dialed in because I probably need to chill. It's not like I'm have a problem, but I really enjoy having some beers on the weekend.
Nothing wrong with that.
On the weekend, probably more than some beers.
You have to drink with moderation, even though that guy can be a bit of a buzzkill.
Right. So we kind of applied that same concept to the dog. If we're getting up every 2 hours, one of us is, we both are.
So if both of you are hammered out of your mind and you still have to walk the dog, you still would be like, honey, we got to get up. Roll me out of bed.
That's a good point because I guarantee you if Erin was not feeling well, I would be doing it. But I would do it out of the kindness of my heart.
Of course.
Knowing to keep her
safe.
And safe because she might fall down the stairs. No, she probably wouldn't do that. She spills a lot of things on herself, but she doesn't fall a lot.
Got it. I've actually seen her spill a bunch of stuff on her when she's hammered. Granted, remember, I saw all of them all throughout college.
Yeah. And Brenda was in full effect back then.
That's right. Much like a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde alter ego.
Erin spilling things sober is a thing. Erin spilling things drunk is just what's going to happen.
Oh, so it was already built into her body's DNA to just spill stuff.
Oh, 100%.
Okay, so I guess it was just running on autopilot then when she was hammered.
Oh, yeah. It's on freaking overdrive. They hit the nitrous and put on autopilot.
So you played college at SCU then, even though she went to UCF.
Yes.
So you two maintained lines of communication throughout that entire time, I assume?
I tell people all the time that Erin made the long distance easy. And I say that because she always just kept me involved and I was always busy. Football was a full-time job from 5 a.m. till 8 at night. Mm-hmm. And Erin was always doing things like socials or whatever events, they was going to. And my ex was in a sorority and it was very hard. We were long distance. It was very hard. And I had really negative thoughts going into it. I kind of almost talked her out of going into sorority because I was using that past experience to what it would be. And Erin made it easy, man. And I knew I feel like I knew that's when Erin was it for the long haul because she created such a trust that I had with her. She's never made me worry at all. And then when I would come to UCF, the very rare times I'd come, the guys and girls would come up to me and be like, oh, Will, so nice to meet you. Honestly, the UCF friends that I have, just because of Erin, really, I freaking love you guys because you really were such a big impact on her life, but also my life. From indirect form, I associated you guys with such good because I had such a good relationship with Erin, even though we were long distance. Guys come up to me and be like, dude, if anyone touches Erin, I'm beating their ass. Erin's our girl. When I wasn't there, they would send me Snapchats, be like, we're on bodyguard duty tonight, or stuff like that. And just everyone was so cool, and I never went to bed or never worried Erin would be like, I'm going out to bar hopping all night. We're going downtown. I never was like, oh man, what is she doing? She made it easy, man. I'm not trying to be sobby, dude. She's a cool girl.
But if you're about to marry someone, you should be this sobby about
Yeah,
them.
I feel lucky. So when I talk about her, and it like brings back like, how was your relationship long distance? And I think back about how great it was. Was it perfect? No. I'm not gonna sit here and say like a relationship was perfect.
Correct.
There are always like little bumps in the road here and there.
I mean, the long distance is already enough of a hassle, but the fact that you've been able to get through it and now are even engaged.
Right. So Erin made it easy, and I would say she worked a lot harder to make it easy than I did, because I played football. She had to drive to me for 4 years straight. I had barely any time.
Did she ever make any of your games?
She made every single one, other than a couple away ones.
How far is SCU away from Orlando?
Depending on traffic, I'd say like an hour.
Oh, that's not bad at all. Okay, I was thinking it was way further, like at least a solid like 5-hour drive.
No, and that's what I tell people. Like, it wasn't that far. If I wasn't playing sports, we would have seen each other every day of the week. It would have been her coming to Lakeland or me going there. But I legit, Monday through Sunday, had shit. So the only option was for her to drive to me, and I could text her like 3 hours a day. So our relationship could have been really bad, because she could have just said, I'm not driving to you every weekend. She was at all her events. She didn't have to text me all night. Like, it was a closer distance than people expect, but the circumstances could have been very tough on a relationship. And I feel like she put in more effort to make it work than I did, just because she had to, because I didn't have an option.
So you really had to balance between sports and a relationship, in addition to school.
Right.
So you had a lot on your plate.
I actually made Dean's List one year.
Look at you go. It just goes to show you that just because you have a lot shoved in your face does not mean you can't tackle it all.
Time management, baby.
Oh, and speaking of tackling, what's your favorite part about playing linebacker?
Yeah, just hitting people. But also, it kind of goes farther than that. Linebacker's like the quarterback of the defense, and I enjoy...
Middle linebacker specifically?
Yeah, I would say middle linebacker. In our defense, we kind of had like a Sam and a Will, so like a strong side backer and a weak side backer, and we both kind of had our own responsibilities.
So I'm guessing the outside would be the weaker?
It depends. So when you have 3 linebackers, you have a Mike, a Sam, and a Will.
Got it.
In our specific defense, we had 2 linebackers, so we had a Sam and a Will. There was no true Mike.
Okay.
So depending on what formation the offense came out in, depicted who was the Mike or the Sam in that specific play. Typically, the safeties would call out the coverage that the defense would be running, and it was the linebacker's job to then listen to the coverage to identify their man in that specific formation or play, and then direct the D-line on what stunts or blitz or whatever we were running. So the linebackers was fun because it was almost like a chess game. It was so much film involved. I probably watched 20 to 30 hours of film a week. So, and you're talking with a team on your own time, learning like, if they come out in this formation, what 5 plays do they run the most out of? Do they run that play when they're towards the boundary? Do they run that play on first down? Do they run that play on second down? What do they really like to do? And then when you're out there in the games, it's fun to be like, I know what they're running. Like, there were a couple times me and the linebacker, we had a really good rapport that I played with. We'd be like, they're running this play, and we just call it out. We tell our D-line what the play we're running, and the offense would be like, what the fuck? Like, how do they know? And it's just like, it comes from film, and it comes from having good coaches that it taught us how to watch film right. So that was my best part, was feeling prepared is a really good feeling in football, because when you're prepared, you play relaxed and slow.
This reminds me, see, the thing is, I never played football growing up, but I love the sport. And I'll claim I'm a Dolphins fan because I'm from South Florida.
Yeah.
I guess fins up.
Where are you from exactly?
I'm from Boynton Beach.
I have 3 customers there.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Right off of 441?
Yep. Okay, I know exactly what you're talking about. So, recently on YouTube, I've been watching a lot of, like, the NFL's greatest. You know, like, for example, granted, he's retired, but there's Doug Baldwin, Taylor Lewan was on the show, and they all were discussing their big plays and, you know, what was going into their mind. So I love hearing people talk about all the analytical stuff of football.
Yeah.
And I remember one time Deshaun Watson actually during a press conference after a game, I think they won, so he was in much better spirits. And so he was telling people how routes were going. So then, you know, he said, if the wide receivers go up and then out, those are called the flats. So he was really breaking down every single thing. Granted, to other football players, it sounds like he's belittling you, but to people like me who doesn't know anything, I'm like, I love hearing this.
Yeah. We actually talked about football for an hour the other night.
Is she a big Jags fan too?
By trade, if that makes sense.
Nice.
And I'm a Notre Dame fan because her parent went to Notre Dame.
That's right. They did.
Yeah. And so I really didn't watch college football growing up. So when I started dating Erin, her dad was like, you're a Notre Dame fan. And I said, I don't mind because I don't have a team. And they were 4-6 that year, so I didn't feel like a bandwagon.
Exactly. But it wouldn't have been bandwagoning because it's your first team that you were exposed to.
Exactly. And like you with the Panthers.
Correct.
So a very similar concept, but the Jags, you know, I've always been. But I was explaining to her that how there's so many different formations and schemes and playbooks, and like a defender's responsibility on if a defense calls cover 2, right, and there's no line stunt, you can call cover 2 with any 100 line stunts on the D line. But if it's cover 2, depending on what the offense comes out in, your responsibility could be a number 2 receiver, which is like a slot, a tight end, or a running back. Or it might be if the running back blocks and you have no responsibility, then you're walling whatever comes across the middle. You're almost like a support player. Or you're blitzing, because if your responsibility stays into block, then your job is to pressure the quarterback. So, like, I was explaining to her how, like, your one defensive formation can turn into 25 different jobs, and you don't know what you're going to do on that play until the offense hikes the ball.
Dang, that's so awesome.
Yeah, so it's really fun.
In addition to watching the best talk about their stuff, I also watched a few videos about busts in the NFL.
Yeah.
And so I remember there was this one guy, I think he was picked 2nd overall, I forgot which year, Jamarcus Russell.
He's number 1 overall.
Number
to the
1.
Oakland Raiders, yeah.
So I love the fact that you watch hours and hours of film, even though early in your career that you were like, I'm not going to go pro. So the thing is that I remember hearing the story about how his coaches gave him a blank disc and told him to watch the film. And then the next day he came in going, yo, I saw the plays, coach, I'm ready. With the coaches knowing fully that it was blank, knowing that he wasn't watching anything.
Right.
And then he eventually just gained weight. Too much to where he pulled an Eddie Lacy, and next thing you know it, he was out.
Dude, Eddie Lacy, I forgot about that guy.
Yep.
He used to be a stud.
He was, and then I picked him up on my fantasy the year after, and then completely tanked.
Yeah. No, and I was actually telling Erin about that too. She was like, how do people like bust? How are you so good middle school, high school, college, and get to the NFL and bust? Mm-hmm. And I was explaining how there's, even in my college, so I had a defensive coordinator my freshman, sophomore year, and then I had a different defensive coordinator my junior and senior year. I was much better my freshman, sophomore year because I was in a scheme that fit my play style and what I was good at. And I think some players get lucky to where they're so good, the coaches tailor the scheme to fit the player. And in NFL, you have coaches who are so established, so successful, they say, no, you're going to run my scheme, regardless of what you've ran your entire life. You're going to run my scheme, and the players can't adjust. What makes a good coach is Bill Belichick. He has changed his scheme. It was Tom Brady's scheme. Mm-hmm. Then Cam Newton came, and it was Cam Newton's scheme. Mm-hmm. And then Mac Jones is now here, and it's Mac Jones' scheme. They are 3 different complete offenses with the same coaching staff. And why is he a great coach? Because he's able to alter his coaching style to fit a player, where players who get put in schemes they're not good in are not going to succeed.
Actually, that reminds me of when I watched about Johnny Manziel and the fact that at A&M, most of the time the pocket would collapse and he would just scramble and then just throw it. But then in the NFL, your O-lines are meant to hold you up. But granted, it's Cleveland, so they can only do so well. But at the same time, he was just playing like he did in college, and then he just kept getting handled.
I think he was an uncoachable player. I think that's a huge thing, too, is you have players who are cocky and they're really freaking good. And, dude, everyone has a sense of pride in them. Right? A level of pride. Yeah. And I feel like he had so much pride, he wasn't very coachable or didn't respect what his coaches were trying to say. And then I think it really was his downfall, because if you just are able to understand that people have been there before you and have done what you are trying to do, and they're in that position for a reason, and you say, look, they're trying to help me, like, take all the bullshit out of it, and they're really trying to help me, like, perfect my craft, then you'll benefit from someone who's been there, done that.
Absolutely, especially when you brought up how Deion Sanders is coaching Jackson State. I was watching one of their videos of Deion coaching the defensive backs, and so I'm thinking, if I'm one of those guys at Jackson State, I would shut up the entire time and listen to every single thing that word says as scripture. I would arguably say that he's the best ever.
Yeah, I would say man-on-man corner for sure. The ability that he had to lock down receivers was pretty unbelievable.
And I see his highlight reels from his era. Yeah. He looks like he could ball now, no problem.
Yes and no. And why I say that is because over time, the NFL has made it harder on defenses because they want points scored. Back in the day, defenders could beat up receivers. I would say that receivers in the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, early 2000s were better receivers than the current receivers today.
Because they had to go through so much more
adversity. They had to go through so much more hand fighting, jersey pulling, hits over the middle, freaking helmet to the freaking dome. Right? And I think nowadays the defenders are better cornerbacks than the pass cornerbacks because they have to pretty much work under no contact and then make a perfect play on the ball. So my viewpoint is the NFL has made it harder on defense and easier on offense. So I think like the stats you have of receivers in the early 2000s, Jerry Rice getting absolutely assaulted on every play but still catching 2,000 yards a season.
That's pretty impressive.
It's really impressive. And just
not pretty. You're right. It is really impressive.
Right. And I just think going back to it, I think offensive players like Deion, he probably had it a little easier because if Deion played in today's world, he'd probably have a freaking pass interference call every single play.
Okay, that's fair, and that's the thing. You've played football, you understand this, so I love that input that you just had.
Yeah.
So that was awesome. Perfect timing too, because it's almost at the 29-minute mark. So actually, that being said, we are now at my personal favorite part of any Big DK Energy episode, which is the bonus question round. All these questions you do not know about. Wow, that was loud.
I know, that was good. That was really good. Cheers.
Cheers. He does not know that these questions exist. He does not know what goes into them, but don't worry, you will have a job after this.
Oh.
So that being said, Mr. Tillo, are you ready?
Yes.
Question number 1. You have tickets on the 50-yard line for the Jaguars. Besides the Dogs and Aaron, which Jaguar alumni are you sitting next to, and who are they playing?
So, I would say that being a linebacker, I would have to say Paul Plesney, because he came from the Bills. He wasn't drafted by the Jags.
Really?
But he was traded to us, or we signed him as a free agent. And he was kind of in my years of like late middle school, high school. And he was just the meathead, buff linebacker, just 100-plus tackles a year, just ball hawk, safety, not safety, but like quarterback of the defense type guy. I just think he's very cool, and he does a lot of things in the community, which I wish I would do. I need to step up and do that. So I think he's like someone I would emulate and have fun talking to. What game or what team I'd be playing? It would have to be the Tennessee Titans. They have ruined my life many of times. They just like, they're in our division. They always seem to beat us. Even when we're good, we lose to them, which we're good very rarely, but they just always seem to beat us. In 1998, it was 1998 or 2001. We went to the AFC Championship game. We were 14-2. We lost an AFC Championship game. It was 2001. Okay, now I just reminded myself. We lost to the Titans. The only team we lost to that year was the Titans 3 times. 2 in the regular season and 1 in the AFC Championship.
Oh, that's the worst.
Jeff Fisher.
It's just like how the Patriots almost made it undefeated until they hit the Super Bowl that year. They played the Giants.
Yeah.
So it's like it doesn't even count.
And I actually met Jeff Fisher the other day and told him that I hated him.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I actually have a picture of him.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So my best friend played for Tennessee State.
Oh, nice.
HBCU. Mm-hmm. And Jeff Fisher's son is the defensive coordinator. And after the game, they let me like talk to him and meet him.
Oh.
I spoke to him for about 10 minutes. So.
I was about to say, like, hopefully you didn't exchange too harsh of words.
No, I just told him that he ruined my life. And then he was like, well, in that Super Bowl, he talked about how, he lost on the 1-yard line. Remember the Super Bowl where the Titans lost to the Rams and the guy was 1 inch away from winning?
No, I don't remember that at all.
Yeah, so if you look it up, the Titans lost the Super Bowl on the last play of the game. The receiver got to like the half-yard line and got stopped.
No.
Yeah. So,
that's the worst.
Yeah, so he's had some heartbreak. I've had heartbreak, but he's a cool guy in general. So.
Although you got to give it up to the defense. Good play.
Yeah, defense, baby.
Defense wins games.
Wins championships.
That's right, they do.
Championships.
Speaking of that. Number 2.
Yes.
In an alternative dimension, you are one of the top-rated linebackers in the league. Who's your favorite offensive tackle to get by, and who would be your favorite quarterback to sack?
I have to say Michael Orr. Blindside, freaking national hero. Good story. Hall of Famer. Played, Pro Bowl for however many years, 12 years. I think that'd be really cool because I could be like, yeah, you can tell Sandra Bullock to... I know that was a movie. That wasn't really him, but whatever. I think it'd be cool to like blitz on him or something like that and get a sack. And if we were going to get a sack, I would have to say Tom Brady. I mean, it's Tom Brady. He's a GOAT. And I think it'd be really fun to sack him because he's just such like an emotional shit-talking stud that like I would sack him and just be like, TB12 fucking sucks. Or like, I don't know. It would be fun to tackle Tom Brady for sure, I'd say.
So, that being said, number 3. You're getting dinner with 3 people who have influenced you all throughout your life. Whether famous, at home, video game characters, you know it. Who are they and what are you eating?
The Rock. I just think he is the epitome of what I would love to be.
A bad rapper? I'm just kidding. Well, not kidding about a bad rapper, but if
What is it? It's about drive. It's about
don't get me started.
All right, me and Aaron joke about that all the time. Other than his rapping career, he's been kind of perfect. I mean, he's a good story too. Poor, troublemaking kid, worked really hard, WWE or wrestling, making $20 a round, and now he's one of the richest men in the world solely from work ethic and being a good person.
It's kind of like how a lot of people crap on Oprah, but Oprah lived in poverty before she ever became this rich.
A lot of people hate Oprah, but like, how do you hate someone for setting themselves up for success and their family and their grandkids? She's not a bad person. I don't know if
all I can think is jealousy.
Yeah, I mean, it has to be jealousy, right? All right, so The Rock.
So The Rock's number 1.
All right, this is going to be a curveball, but I think it would be funny because I would troll him. Trump.
Okay.
That would just be unbelievable.
And plus the banter between him and The Rock would just be very entertaining to watch.
He'd be like, what did The Rock do? What is it called when he supported Biden?
Endorsed Biden.
Yeah, endorsed Biden.
Okay.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that would be a funny conversation. And also The Rock would be the guy who'd be like, oh, it's not filtered water. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. Something like that. And then third person, Jim Carrey.
Favorite comedian?
Just my childhood. I didn't watch a lot of movies. but I watch a lot of Jim Carrey.
Okay.
And I thought he is just one of the funniest guys. And I don't know, I guess I'm bad at that, but yeah, The Rock, Trump, and Jim Carrey would be one hell of a dinner.
Seriously, it's like you wouldn't even need to talk. You would just let them just speak amongst themselves, and you're just sitting there eating in silence. It's like, if anyone asking, are you going to talk to them? No, this is already entertaining enough.
I could just see, like, at one point Jim Carrey being like, alrighty then.
Alrighty then.
Yes, exactly. And where would we eat?
Yeah.
Golden Corral. I have so many good memories of that place, man.
Oh my god, I could just imagine Trump and The Rock being like,
Golden Corral.
Golden Corral. What the heck?
I think The Rock would be okay. He'd start like a freaking table outside, like, I don't know, donating bottles of Terramana to someone or...
Oh, I thought you meant he would eat an entire table by himself. I go, yeah, that sounds
He
like
probably
him.
would. I mean, he eats bison, so like the steak they serve at Golden Corral probably wouldn't even like the rats don't eat.
Yeah.
No offense to anyone that eats Golden Corral and likes their steak, but I used to ride my bike as a kid to Golden Corral. We'd ride our bikes for like an hour and a half.
All right, hold on. Sorry.
Yeah.
The camera's about to die from this battery. Sorry about the sudden brief pause. One of the cameras is about to die, and it has a full battery now. So, excellent. Golden Corral with Jim Carrey, The Rock, and Trump.
Wow. God, doesn't that just sound good?
That sounds like if I had nothing to do on a Friday night and I was alone. Well, that actually sounds like my life right now. I would watch that.
It would be really good. I mean, I'm talking plates of mac and cheese, the rolls, right? The rolls, the dessert station. What else did I get? The pot roast was pretty good there.
Oh, and because of what Trump did for the championship football team, I forgot what...
McDonald's.
Yep, exactly. Was it Alabama?
Yes.
Yep, okay, yeah.
Yep, and he got McDonald's for them.
Yep.
Trump did a cool thing. So when the hurricane hit Panama City and like totally destroyed Panama City, he flew in like 2 truckloads of McDonald's.
Really?
Yes. For the entire city.
Well, that's helping out.
He's got a thing with McDonald's.
Okay.
It's like Bill Gates. Didn't he like always get an Egg McMuffin?
I think
he would
so.
drive his Camry, like his freaking 1985 Camry, and go get an Egg McMuffin and a small coffee every morning. And this guy's worth like billions of dollars.
Interesting.
I love like the groundedness of like that scene.
Great. Especially how like everyone always craps on McDonald's, but that's your favorite drunk food. Most people's
My
drunk
favorite
food.
drunk food.
Well, most people.
Pizza. I'm a pizza guy.
It would be pizza if I wasn't lactose intolerant.
You're lactose intolerant?
It sucks. Thank God I have my lactate pills right now because then I could eat anything dairy without having to
Really?
worry about the next morning. Yep.
I used to drink 3 gallons of milk a week in high school.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I was a psychopath. Whole milk too. I'm surprised I don't have fucking issues.
Well, it sounds like if you drank 3 whole gallons of milk in high school, that's already issues enough.
That's another conversation.
Yeah, exactly. So, number 4. What is your dream vacation and itinerary?
I would have to say like Italy. Aaron loves Italian food. I love Italian food. Love good wine.
Tillo, what is your last name? Is it Italian?
That's a long story. It's German and Polish. When my great-grandparents came over from overseas, when they got to Angel Island, is it Angel or Ellis? Angel's on...
Ellis is New York.
Yes, Ellis is New York, Angel is San Francisco.
I didn't know about San Francisco.
Yeah, I believe that's what it is. If anyone fact-checks me, I'm...
No, you're good, but it is Ellis Island because actually I have ancestors from my Jewish side of the family that came through there as well.
So when they came in, long names from Europe, they were like, screw that shit. Your name's now this.
Yeah.
Like, they shortened it. So my name used to be like, I joke about it, but like it could be like Tiloski or like whatever, and it became Tillo.
Well, I think that's way easier to pronounce.
Yes, and it kind of sounds cool.
Yeah, Tillo.
All right, so anywhere it could go.
So you said Italy?
Yeah, I guess. That'd be cool. I'm a big history guy, too.
Okay, so, all right, let's talk history then. So, would you like to see the Colosseum?
For sure. I think just being somewhere, so what I would do, this is like people like getting to know me. Before I went to somewhere like that, I would like study Roman history. What I've read and learned, I would walk through those areas and think of what it used to be and appreciate it more.
Yeah, and especially the latrines. Do you know why? Because public bathrooms had no dividers, and everybody shared what they wiped their ass with. It was a single sponge on a stick, and then they put it in a little stream of water that kind of ran throughout the city, and that was supposed to quote-unquote wash it off for the next person.
Holy shit. Reminds me of high school.
What high school did you go to?
It was a nice high school.
Oh, yeah, sure. Everyone shares toilet paper. It's that nice.
Yeah. I don't want to get too off topic. That's a long story, but yeah, it sounds like my high school locker room. Anyway.
Okay.
Judging from what I've seen in toilets before, the sponge water running through it did not do the job.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think that would be really fun, especially like going with Erin because she would like love the wine and love the food, and I would be like more into the history. But like walking to the restaurants and wineries, we would see the things I care about. I think that would be cool.
I think it'd be really cool to put on like a full thing of Roman armor.
Is that called LARPing? Or is that medieval stuff?
LARPing is something completely different. So, if anything, I think that would be considered reenacting. If you were just putting on the armor or just putting on anything historical, you're just wearing it. If you're actually performing something that was historically done in said outfit, that is a reenactment. LARPing is when you just dress up in medieval-esque characters. They form their own factions. Some people even go as far as forming their own languages, and then they just meet up in places where they're not allowed to legally kill each other, but they have like a boxing glove at the end of an arrow, for example, so that if someone gets hit, they don't die. They might catch a hand or two, but
Right.
nothing deadly.
I got you. No, I'd put a helmet on or something. Like a shield, like a breastplate of righteousness.
I could see you being like a Viking berserker and just absolutely going ape crap on all the 13-year-olds who think that their paper, towel, tube, swords are worth it.
Yeah, I could do that.
Nice.
Sure. As long as someone's hurt, but like sore, I'd throw a double-headed axe through someone's chest or something like that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Number 5.
Yes.
You're at a rock concert that you created.
Okay.
Who are the 5 bands that are performing?
Oh, Jesus. Nickelback, hands down. AC/DC.
Nice.
Yeah, I like them. Five Finger Death Punch.
Nice.
See, I love Five Finger Death Punch.
It's funny, a lot of my metal friends are like, when I say Five Finger Death Punch, they're like, I listen to real metal. That's not it.
Fuck. I mean, same people that are like, Nickelback, dude. Dude, the people who hate Nickelback, you know how we talked about people hate Oprah?
Yeah.
Jealousy.
Well, also, I heard Chad Kroger's kind of a dick, but it's all right.
Yeah, okay, but I'm telling you right now, it doesn't matter who you are and where you are. If Rockstar comes on, you're singing that shit.
Yeah.
And you're going ham. You're trying. Like, Rockstar doesn't come on, they're like, oh, this song. Cha-Cha Slide comes on, you're like, oh, come on.
Yeah.
Rockstar comes on, dude, people are going, all right, so Nickelback, Five Finger Death Punch. AC/DC. Disturbed.
I love Disturbed.
Okay, Sound of Silence.
If you don't know this, the lead singer is actually really Jewish.
How are you really Jewish? He's really Jewish?
He's very Jewish. In fact, he originally
What makes someone really Jewish?
So he actually went to this thing called yeshiva, which is like where rabbis go when they're ready to become a rabbi.
Become a full rabbi.
Yes, and he even said that he wanted to not have a tattoo for a while because he wanted to be buried.
I said, you're right. He wasn't like that tatted.
Yeah, because in the Jewish faith, you're not supposed to, quote unquote, disturb the body that God gave you. So if people were seen with a tattoo, they wouldn't be allowed to be buried in a Jewish grave. But he said, what are the chances of me being buried in Israel with all my ancestors? So then he got the tattoo. In fact, one of my favorite songs by Disturbed is called Never Again because it's an entire song about the Holocaust.
Didn't they tattoo the Jewish people to almost be like more of an insult?
I don't know about that, but the thing is that it gave you a number and that's all you're referred to as in the camps. I mean, granted, they were allowed to be buried in Jewish graves because that's a different circumstance.
No, correct. All right, so we got Disturbed, Nickelback, AC/DC, Five Finger Death Punch.
And then one more.
You know what, dude? I'll just throw it in there. Slipknot.
Okay. You bring me back to middle school with some of these bands.
Yeah, man. I was a skater boy.
Okay.
You know, I was.
Who said see you later, boy?
Wait, hold on. Could Blink-182 be considered rock?
Yeah.
Fuck yeah. Take Slipknot out, Blink-182.
Okay, Blink-182's in. For some odd reason, whenever I hear Blink-182, I just imagine like all the live-action Scooby-Doo movies, and I could just see them playing every soundtrack to that.
Yeah. Sorry, Slipknot, but Blink-182.
Sounds like a fun concert. Number 6.
Oh, geez.
If you had to go somewhere for work, yet you had plenty of time to do stuff as a tourist, where's the place, and what are you doing?
I'd say California, LA. I'd go to like the nicest area possible, and I'd go to a cigar bar.
Ooh, that would be a move.
I do that like sometimes on my business trips to Miami, Los Olas.
Okay. Oh, that's a beautiful area down there.
And I found out it's not Los Olas, Olas.
Olas, that's right.
People corrected me many of times. And I've actually met a couple customers that I'm working with now at cigar bars.
Look at that.
Like just in passing, like it was kind of wild. Anyway, I feel like that would be very cool because honestly, when you're smoking a cigar, I feel like good conversation happens and good reflection happens. Like, I love smoking cigars because it's like a therapeutic thing. It's not about the tobacco. It is relaxing, but I've never had a bad conversation while smoking a cigar with someone.
It's a chill vibe.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen anybody too angry while smoking a cigar?
No, and if they are, they're fucking psychotic.
Correct. They're probably done a little booger sugar.
Booger sugar or like just they got some serious issues. They should go to therapy. I'm a therapy advocate for sure.
Exactly. Me too. Number 7. You've been given $50K to throw a party for Kim and Kanye, dogs.
Okay.
What are you and Aaron doing for them?
Spending $50,000 on getting Kanye to come perform.
I mean, does he sing like 30 seconds of one song?
Though, like, all of a sudden, he probably sings one song and then, like, stops the concert to say that, like, he, like, really wants to talk to my dogs about why they're bad or something like that. He'd be, like, have some really weird fucking conversation about how they could, like, take over the world.
Okay. It's like Kanye's performing at your dinner with Trump, Rock, and Jim Carrey. Number 8. If you had to be a representative for any apparel company, which company is it? And which athlete is in the commercial with you?
Wrangler. Because, like, I think I would, like, rock jorts. And I would have Brett Favre with his weird, like, country ass just talking about, like, fishing. And I'm not even a fishing guy, right?
Okay.
But just, like, I think you could create some funny content. Like, I call myself the corrugated cowboy. Because I sell corrugated boxes, right? Mm-hmm. And I feel like me wearing some Wrangler jorts with Brett Favre, maybe some like fat dips in just because, just would be like a fun commercial.
That would be a hilarious commercial.
Real.
Wow. Number 9.
Okay.
What's a far-fetched goal of yours that not many people know about?
I'd say how I'm remembered in general. A far-fetched goal, because you can't always make a positive impact on everybody. You can't make, but like a far-fetched goal of mine would really be to like, whenever my time comes to leave this earth, whoever I dealt with, look back in a positive light. I feel like that's honestly something I strive to do. And I know that might sound like way too serious or way too that, but like that's something I like consciously think about.
All the time?
Yeah. Like if I have an interaction with someone, like was it positive? Was it too much? Was I being a jerk? Was I trying to be too funny? I feel like in a far-fetched goal, because you can never please everybody. Mm-hmm. And I'm definitely a people pleaser to fault, but I think like if I was to leave this earth tomorrow, like I would hope that everyone that interacted with me would have a positive experience. But I know I'd probably piss some people off.
I think that's a very beautiful goal, actually. That being said, dang, we're having fun. So much fun that we're actually at the last question.
Okay.
And this one is a little easier. Okay. But number 10 is, what is your best, most recent accomplishment?
Go to therapy.
Good for you, man.
I would say that was because I feel like for a long time, I always felt like there was like a negative connotation around that.
Mm-hmm. The stigma attached towards it.
Like almost like you're weak because you're going.
Or like you're crazy because you're going.
Right. But I think it really helped ground me in a sense of like, not everything's perfect. It will never be. There's things you could always improve. There's things that will always be worse. And I think that was a big thing. I think that was something that I plan on doing if it wasn't so damn expensive.
Correct.
To get like good quality like for therapy, right? Mm-hmm. But just going to someone to talk to about maybe some things that have been weighing on you that you don't want your significant other to know that you're worried about, mm-hmm. or your friends who you don't want to be like, oh damn, Will's like worried about that, yeah. Or just someone super unbiased, doesn't have your history, doesn't have this, but they take everything at what it is, mm-hmm. and how you say it and kind of challenge you in ways to make you think about. It's really like, I think that's my biggest accomplishment, because I always felt like I was going to be stuck in this like hamster wheel. And to kind of have an unbiased or unjudgmental, it's not that my friends judge me or anything like that, mm-hmm. but speaking freely without worrying about the judgment coming back. I feel like it was a very releasing feeling for me.
Well, I'm glad you had that. And did you feel much better after your session?
Every time.
Excellent. And how long have you been going for, if you don't mind me asking?
I think I've gone to 3.
Excellent.
And it's been that impactful.
Wow. And only 3 times. And,
I swear. Yeah.
Well, great for you, Will. I'm so glad that you're doing what's necessary to make your life better. Proud of you for doing that. Yeah. Especially, like you said, with the stigma. It's slowly eroding away, but it's still there.
For sure.
So.
And I feel like it's honestly just taking the step. And like anything, like with this venture right here, mm-hmm. right? Podcasting. There's a lot of intimidating factors that could come from this industry. Mm-hmm. Or, what am I going to do? What's the first step? But you can't go anywhere without taking that first step.
Correct. Just starting.
Right. So I think that's why it feels accomplishing, because I took that step to like, mm-hmm. I don't know, just kind of get things off the chest,
I'm glad to hear that for you, Mr. Tillo.
Thank you, Mr. K.
Of course. Well, that being said, we are actually at the end of the show. So, Will, I know that you're very busy with your line of work, but I'm so glad you were able to stop by and give some of your time.
Yeah, for sure. Had a blast. Definitely am lucky to be on the show. I'm excited to see how it turns out. Hopefully it was good. Hopefully people didn't mind my slurping too much. But no, I really enjoy hanging out with you. Like getting to talk with you for one of the first times, really, just one-on-one. So
yeah, exactly. So, Will, what I brought you actually on the show today is because I knew that you had such a love for football, but then after hearing all your analytical talk, I could just hear the passion come through it, whether it's your work, whether it's speaking about Aaron. You have that carrying you on. And so it is all for those reasons that I think you, Will Tillo, have big DK energy.
Love it, man. Appreciate you.
Excellent.
Cheers.
As we cheers, we're going to put all of his social media links in the description box below. Don't forget to comment, like, share, subscribe, the whole 9 yards. Whether it's 1 or 1,000, we appreciate all of you. And so, Will, before we head out, is there anything you want to promote or say?
No, man, just go out there and do good, work hard, and, hey, have fun, but be the best person you can be. I'd say that.
Short but simple message. I like it. All right, with that all being said and done, this is the Big DK Energy Podcast, signing off.